Okay, so for this quick lesson, you're going to need page 231 and 233 torn out of your workbook, and then the other page that is for individual work or independent work is page 235. That one you can do by yourself after this lesson, or you can do it with me in the Zoom. Okay, that's what we're going to do during Zoom. So with this page, we're going to look at 231. We use number lines so many times with addition, and I know that you understand them, but I want to be sure that we have enough practice with subtraction because you're going the other direction on the number line. So I'm going to put my name on the top, and it says Mark has 13 erasers. I like to circle the numbers. He gives 5 of them to Troy. So how many erasers does Mark have now? So his amount of erasers is going to go down. So that means that our numbers are not going to go up like with addition. We're going to go the other way, that way. So I'm going to start with 13. That's how many he has. And then he gives 5 of them to Troy. So I'm going to hop 5 times going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I make sure I did the right amount. So I like to put the numbers on top of my hops. Then I go, okay, I know for sure that I went 5 hops. And then that means wherever I landed, that's how many that he ended up having left was 8. Pretty simple. Mark has 8 erasers now. I want to make sure that you understand too how the equation goes. So we're going to write the equation. So it's 13, and then we took away 5, and that gave us 8 left. So that's what your equation should look like. So you can go ahead and write that down on your paper. If I ever go too fast during the video lesson, you can just pause it so you can get caught up, but try and stick with me. I will try not to go too fast. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. And here she talks about, this is a little frustrating with me because she's actually going to talk about 2 ways you could use the number line. And sometimes I think that can be confusing. She says you can count back or you can count on to subtract. So let's try with 11 minus 5. So this is going to be 2 different ways that she's talking about. One way would be just like what we did on the front cover of this page. It says you can count back on a number line to subtract 5. That's exactly what we just did. You start with a big number and you hop backwards. But she's also telling you there's another way you can do it. You can also count on to subtract 11 minus 5 on a number line. So you would start with 5 and you would hop until you get to 11. Like she did here, she hopped and she kept hopping until she stopped at 11 there. And then she would have to count how many hops there was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hops. And this way is different because you hop all the way back 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you end up on 6. But see, doing that in the same lesson, I think, can be very confusing. So I'm going to try not to go back and forth. But she is talking about both ways. And if you are confused, it's okay. Don't worry. We're going to talk about it a little bit at the Zoom, but we're really going to focus more on just going back on the number line. So here on this one, it says use the number line to count back or count on and find the difference. So for this one, we start at 11. It's already there. Take away 3. We do 3 hops. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we end up at 8. Simple, right? Easy peasy. And then they like to try and confuse you by moving around the equal sign and the subtraction sign. This is just moved around. It doesn't mean anything different than what we've been doing. So I'm going to just write it again. What we're used to seeing is the big number first, take away this number, equals, and that's how our answer goes. They just put the answer first. because sometimes they're going to do it that way. They want to make sure you're used to seeing that. So I'm going to start with my 15 because I know that that's what I'm trying to do is subtract 6. So I'm going to find my 15 and I'm going to count back 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hops. Make sure I did 6 and not too many or too little. So I'm going to count and make sure they're there. And there are 6. So then I ended up with 9. So I can put 9 here or I could put 9 here. Either way, it means the same thing. So 15 take away 6 equals 9, or 9 equals 15 take away 6. And here's this little box over here. How can you use a number line to solve 9 minus 5? Since the number line isn't already there, then I'm going to make one, but I don't need to have any extra numbers. So I'm just going to make a small number line. And because it is subtraction, then my big number is going to go on this end, and I'm going to write my 9 so that because I know I'm going to have to count backwards. This little line right here, that subtraction sign, tells me I'm going to go backwards on the number line, not forwards. So now I can hop 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter that there's no numbers there right now. I'm going to make sure I have my 5 hops. I got to slow down a little bit, don't I? And then I just need to label wherever the hop landed on that timeline or on that line, number line, I need to put a number, but I have to be careful and I need to count backwards. So 9, take away 1 is going to be 8, right? Then 7, then 6. I got to make sure that I get right where it lands on that number line, and 5 and 4. So that's where it ended up. So there's my number line to show how to do 9 minus 5. Okay, so here's my equation. 9 minus 5 equals, and I landed on 4. Okay, so that's that paper. I'm done with that one. I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to get the next one, which is 233. I'm going to put my name on that one. And just do a few more. What I'd like for you is to try and kind of do them on your own. I'm going to wait a second, and maybe why don't you try 11 minus 6, and then maybe then I will do it in just a few seconds or maybe in a minute. I don't know. I don't want to have you wait during a video, so maybe you can pause it. Maybe you can pause it, try and do these, and then turn it back on and see if you did it right, because then I'm going to show you how to do it. That's probably the best thing to do, is just pause, try and do them on your own, then turn the video back on and see how I do it and see if it matches what you did. So of course I'm going to start with my biggest number. I started at 11, a little mark there, and I'm going to go backwards 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to make sure I have 6 hops. Good, I didn't do too many or too little. And then wherever I landed is going to be the answer, and I can put that here. So 11 minus 6 equals 5. So maybe you should pause it, do the next one, and then come back and turn it back on and see if you did it correctly. Well, this one's silly. My goodness, I just realized what it's 7 minus 7. You don't need a number line for that one. I'm going to rewrite the equation the way we're used to it. This and this are exactly the same. They just put the equal sign in a different place. 7 take away 7. Come on. It's 0. We know that. But I'm just going to prove it because the directions do say we have to use the number line. So I do want you to use the number line, even for a silly one like this. So here's my 7, and I'm going to go 7 hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sure enough, I ended up on 0. And if I didn't, I would have known there's a problem, right? So there's my my answer. And you might want to pause it again and try and do this one on your own, and then you can come back and see if you match mine. Now we have learned that with our fact families that we can just move these numbers around and they end up with subtraction. We could have the 7 here or we could have the 7 here. It doesn't matter. But let me show you how we can do this one a little bit different without having to move the 7 back. So I'm going to start at my 15. And this time I'm just going to keep on hopping until I get to 7, which would be the answer, right? I'm just going to keep on hopping. I don't even know how many times it's going to be yet. I'm not going to stop until I get to 7. I'm just going to keep on going. And I'm going to stop when I get to 7. Now I need to know what number belongs here. So I'm going to count how many hops there are. So let's see. I've got 8 hops. So that's what's going to go here. Okay. And now I'm going to turn it over. We'll do the back side. It says David finds 16 minus 7 on a number line. Write where David starts and write how many he counts back, and then write the difference. Well, he's going to start at 16, right? So maybe we could just make our own and go 16. I'm making a line, but way on the end I need to put 16 because I know that I'm not going to get any bigger. And I also know I'm definitely going to get smaller. So I need lots of room to go backwards. So there's my 16. And now I need to count back 7. So I'm going to make my 7 hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't make them too big because I got to make sure they fit. But I also didn't make them too tiny because I want to make sure that I have enough room to write my little numbers on there. So I'm going to make sure that I did my 7 hops. I'm going to label my hops. And now I need to label where they landed. Every time it lands, it gets a number, but I've got to count backwards. 15 takes some thinking, doesn't it? And then what comes before 15 and count backwards. 16, 15, 14. Now what comes before 14 is 13. What comes before 13? 12. And then before 12 is 11. And then 10 and 9. So that's where we ended up. So you end up with, 9. This one says count back. We want to know how many we had to count back. We counted back 7, but the answer is 9. Now in the next two, Jenny draws 14 frogs. Adam draws 6 frogs. How many more frogs does Jenny draw than Adam? So what's the difference between the two? Use the number line to show how you can count back or count on and write an equation. Well, I know the big number is going to come first, and then I'm going to subtract my 6. So let's see. Starting at 14 again, I'm going to hop back 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put my numbers on my hops, and there's my answer. 8 is the difference. Okay, now the very bottom one, why don't you just do that one on your own? Here it is here, 15 minus 9. You can mark your 15 and hop back 9. Okay, and then see what you end up with. Give you a few seconds here to kind of get caught up. It's kind of hard to do a video like this to know if I'm going way too fast or way too slow, but that's what's good about pausing it, if that helps you out. So just to see if you did it right, you're going to put a mark on 15 and you're going to hop. Hmm. I don't know if I did the right amount. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, good thing that I put numbers on my hops. I didn't do enough. I need one more. Good thing I numbered them. Especially when there's so many, you kind of I got lost with the counting. So then my number is 6. So if that was easy peasy for you, and when you look at the next paper, it says homework practice in the top, and if you think you can do that all by yourself, both sides, then go for it, and you don't need to bring it to Zoom. But if you do come to Zoom, bring this and bring a deck of cards with you, because this might be quick, and if it is, then we'll do something with those cards and some odd and even numbers. All right? All righty, we'll see you later.